Hey everybody, I am just going to do a little kind of stream of consciousness, I guess, where I go through and just see where the searches take me and do a little research on this R36S that I've been checking out and playing around with. So we'll start out with a specs page and then kind of go from there. So this is the little guy in his kind of clear purple shell, and probably one of my favorite colors. And you can see how, you can see all the internals. Most of the colors are clear, except for the black, or sorry, the black is clear as well. The white is not, and that's the only one I've seen so far that's not actually a crystal kind of look to it. Screen is nice. Volume is not great, or the volume is good. The speaker's not great. And the speakers are like clacky, kind of cheap, but the overall device is pretty darn cheap. So you get a good deal out of it. And it says, yeah, charging time 2 hours, battery life 6. I don't know if that's true, but I can tell you that the sleep mode works exceptionally well. I had it come over from China, pull it out of the box, played it for a couple hours, and then put it to sleep on and off again for about a week or two. And it still had at least 30% battery. I didn't have to charge it. I probably could have played it for another week. It's got a 3.5-inch screen, which is a good size for like comfortably playing older games. And the aspect ratio, so I really wouldn't worry too much about this. The screen is a good size for all the games I was playing, and it comes with these little borders on it. So like when I would boot up a Game Boy game, the borders would be like Game Boy, Nintendo, and so it wasn't just black bars. So they make it interesting. It's got a small amount of RAM, a gig, and 64 gig memory card that comes with the OS and like 10,000 games on there. It's even got some PSP games and some PS1 games on it that I wouldn't recommend. Only they're just taking up space. They don't really play, but you can see you can get quite a few colors. There's red, which is a really fun color. I really like that one. Oh, now it's tripping balls. Okay, no, it stopped. But there's red. Let's see if we can zoom in. No, we can't. Red, black, blue, turquoise, purple, looks like clear red. There's a pink as well that I have. So there's some colors on there that I haven't seen, and there's some colors that I've got that aren't on there. It's a very simple system. I literally booted it up and played it right away. I never had any problems. There is the myth online. Well, not the myth. There's the thing online where if your SD card comes and it'll eventually crap out just because it's such a cheap SD card. And that could well be true, but the ones I found were very nice. Like everything worked fine. I haven't had any problems with anything. Yeah, so as far as like out of the box playing a game system is concerned, I would say this is a very good setup for someone who just wants to grab and go. Cheap, so you don't have to feel bad about like throwing it around. Pretty chunky, so you're not worried about it breaking because the case is pretty thick plastic, and it's kind of got that cool clear look, and everything's cheap enough that it feels like a real old game kind of system. Because the old game systems, you got to say, were pretty cheap. But yeah, here, same specs. Here they're saying Linux 64-bit system, so it plays lots of the old games super well. And yeah, so this is the R36. So if you want to check out the specs, you're thinking about buying one, come check out the Pocket Games here. So it's a 2:3 aspect ratio. I just did a quick math, and it's just a 2:3 aspect ratio. So if that matters to anyone, that is the ratio that the screen is. And the pixel density is pretty solid, especially for older games where the pixel density is higher than it ever was back in the day. The screen is nice and bright, and very simple to use. You just in and out of games in a flash, put it to sleep, no worries. Low voltage charging, that's something to keep in mind. It comes with a charging cord, but try and get an old kind of style phone charger to charge these up or plug them into your laptop. Unfortunately, you can't transfer games to and from your laptop through the cord, it's just for charging, but the SD card's pretty easy to pop out. Okay, so this person points out something interesting. Just on Reddit here, quickly looking at some stuff. So they're talking about the R35S, which I didn't know was a thing. It might just have been a mistype. They do say that it plays PSP games, which I think it sort of does, but I wouldn't say it's a seamless experience. And same with like DS games. They actually have a really nice setup for DS games where you click the trigger buttons and it switches between screens. But anyways, they point out in a line down here that there's very clicky triggers and they're kind of loud, and it's true, they're extremely clicky triggers. I would say buy this with the intention of playing games without triggers. Like, it comes with triggers and it also comes with joysticks, but I would say buy this with the intention of playing D-pad games that also use A, B, X, Y, and that's it. And if that's your intention, you'll have no problem with this game system. Okay, so here Tech Auto is saying, so I've been looking for how to adjust the brightness on these things. I haven't found it. They're saying R3, which I believe is the right joystick push down plus the up down, probably on the D-pad there. So if that adjusts the brightness out of the box, then you have pretty much all your settings ready to rock and roll. And you can also go into the settings very easily in the back end and change the layout between like DS, classic Nintendo, what's that new one? The Switch. I haven't tried the other ones, but there's a whole roster, I think about 10 different setups. You just go in, press select, back out, completely resets, and everything's good to go. It's very easy to use. This one's talking about something called an RP2S. It's $100, plays all the systems, and best for Dreamcast apparently. So that could be one to check out. So let's go on a little tangent and check out this RP2S. So something I found is when I Google some handheld that's kind of obscure and it doesn't show up right away, Google will show me all these other freaking handhelds. So there's an ArcOS something G, I assume it's an Ambernick, something, Ambernick, game console. They say game console because it might not be the real thing, but the XX is kind of an Ambernick thing. Retroid Pocket. So none of these are the ones we're looking for. RP2S is what we're looking for. So of course, so it's the Retroid Pocket 2S. Okay, so the $100. So a quick scan of this homepage on Retroid, and there's an RP2S official grip, but I don't see Retroid Pocket 5 protective shell. And then you go up a little bit and you have Retroid Pocket 4 and 4 Pro. Obviously more powerful than the 2S, a little more expensive, but I'm not seeing the 2S on here per se. So I would say check out Facebook Marketplace maybe. I'm not going to go there now because I presume that would kind of show people. Okay, so let's check out this Reddit. So this person's wondering, with the Retroid Pocket 4 or 4 Pro out, is the Retroid Pocket 2S still worth your money? Or should you just get the new one because it's so much better? Nothing Gold 237 says that it's a beautiful and novel design. I really don't care about Nintendo Switch Lite form factor. It's too normal. Okay, interesting. So we should get an eye on the RP2S because I guess it's not a Nintendo Switch form factor, maybe? Okay, so here this next person, Minimalist Gamer 99, is saying that the RP2S is a decent upgrade from the RP2 and would be worth upgrading to. The RP4 Pro is more powerful enough that it might be worth skipping the 2S, but the price difference is enough as well that you could be perfectly happy with a 2S. Now, something I have found with these devices in my extremely limited experience is the YouTubers that talk about them kind of go on about them as if they're uh, like you want the RG Cube XX and it's $150 or it's $100 or $80 or whatever, and you want this, and it can play all your games, but it doesn't come set up out of the box. And maybe you get an RP2S and it costs you $50 and it's fully set up out of the box and it's much cheaper. Maybe you notice the cheapness, but you can still play all your games. And there's a line where having something be too expensive, like a Steam Deck, is no longer enjoyable for those old games, those retro games that you want to emulate. They're only really fun for the computer games. And so having the really cheap handhelds is very enjoyable for these old retro games. Known ad 871 says that they want the RP4 Pro. They want to play PS2 games and Banjo-Kazooie, GBA, blah, blah, blah. I'm just scanning. Sorry, guys. Okay. So just skipped over to Amazon quickly, and it looks like the RP4 Pro, RP2S is, first of all, it is kind of a different form factor. It's very square. It does feel aesthetically like a more of a retro vibe. The buttons look nice. The joysticks look nice. It does look cheaper, but I don't see currently unavailable. So that would be the only thing is, can you even get one of these little guys anymore? I do think they're cute. Apparently it's got a Hall sensor joystick and it's got this Unisoc T610. I don't know what that, 8 cores and or octa-core. Doesn't necessarily mean it has 8 cores, but yeah, it has eight cores overall, it looks like, and some sort of little GPU in there. It looks like a very cute device. I really like it. It's got a little bit of ergonomic, kind of swoop across the back there for you to grab. Looks really small. You could probably throw it in your pocket pretty easily. If anybody has deeper questions about this, 100% Retro Game Core is your man. Check him out. Looked like it came in some pretty neat colorways. I really like the green one as well. And then the guy with the Skittle buttons, the different colored buttons there. But yeah, it's not actually available here. So let's quickly look into this Retroid Pocket 4 Pro pricing. Okay, so yeah, we saw over in the Retroid website that it was about $120, I believe, for the RP4 Pro. Not the worst. That's US pricing. And this here that you're seeing is Canadian pricing. So RG40XXH, the Anbernic, also a good device, I believe. That one should be Linux based, 120 Canadian, so that'll be cheaper in America. Miu Mini V4, never heard of it, but Miu Minis are always good. So that's a little pricier for the little guy, but probably kicks butt. They always have really good stuff. TrimUI Smart Pro 5, heard really good things about it. 140, not bad with pre-installed emulators. Funny do-it-yourself. Don't know anything about RG50XX. It's hard to say. Retro handheld. It doesn't actually say Anbernic. I feel like it's a knockoff, but it is still $100. Also, the D-pad on that thing looks like trash, so don't buy that. No offense to whoever manufactured that thing, but don't buy that. This next RG40XX, that guy's kind of cute. That's probably an Ambernick. It has all the right words: IPS screen, Linux system, but I'm still not seeing the Retroid Pocket. So we're gonna pop over to Alibaba. Okay, so this is Alibaba now, and so there's one here that says portable Retroid Pocket 2. I just did the 2S, and it's RP2S, 160 Canadian. That's bonkers. So I assume what happened is they kind of went out of stock, and now they're like a coveted item because these prices are way too high. So let's look up the 4 Pro because they might be the same price. Okay, so I was wrong. So the 4 Pro is significantly more. And in that case, the 2S is looking pretty good. This is Canadian pricing still, by the way. So the colors, like this red one, is really cool. And you can order just one, so you could order a single piece. That top left is 2, but not bad, not bad. But it is quite a bit more. So $265 is actually quite cheap. And then looking at $344 for some reason, that seems much too much. And then, yeah, so $265 is like very cheap for this 4 Pro. And if we keep scrolling a little bit, yeah, we've got a price range, 307. So this guy is quite a bit more. So the 2S is looking a little better. Let's try the 4. Now, yeah, the 4 Pro does definitely have that Nintendo Switch Lite kind of aesthetic. And it looks like here we're coming up with some sort of version of the R36S again on the left-hand side. Retroid Pocket 4, $200, 200, $300 for the Pro. Kind of cool colors, but no, not great. So let's look at the horizontal version of this R36. So it doesn't come up right away. We're still in Alibaba here, and this R36 Max comes up, and it has, here I'll click on one. It has a soccer ball button in the middle for like its function button, and the screen is like taller. It has a different aspect ratio. I think everything else is exactly the same, but it does look a little more ergonomic, and I kind of wanted to get one just to try it out, see if it was any different. But the soccer ball button in the middle makes it look a lot sillier, and I feel like people wouldn't buy them as much because of that silly little button in the middle. Okay, just quickly, there's a pink. This is the original R36S, but in pink. I just really like the pink. This is actually just quickly a good example. So the R36 Pro, but you can see in the photo there that there's a little, it comes with a case. And that's something to keep in mind if you care about that sort of thing. There are certain ones, I don't know who it is, but some people will ship them with a little case and some people won't. So if you care about that sort of thing, you keep your eye out. You can get one with like a little case and stuff, and it's just got that extra little value for your money. Yeah, so I'm not seeing the R36H. I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same, just in a horizontal form factor. It kind of looked like the Retroid Pocket 2S. It is very square. But every once in a while, I'll run across one that's kind of like this new M22 Pro, and it's kind of got this Ambernick aesthetic, but it's so dang cheap. And it really makes me wonder, like, if people put time and effort into designing and engineering this thing and then have kicked it out with, a computer chip in it, where are they making their money? Because it looks like a good form factor. It's it's wide. It's got grips on the back. It's obviously got some sort of gaming setup Linux system on there. And the R36S I kind of get because it is just a cheap, super cheap handheld. Everything about it is cheap. But this guy, like here, they're claiming, it's It plays games, which of course that's the whole point. It has RGB around the thumbsticks. It has a, well, it you can it says controller, so I assume they're saying it can play with a controller. It's got a pretty ergonomic little design. It looks like it has a little out, like mini HDMI out. It's I think heavily copying Anbernic, which maybe they were able to cut back on designs because of that. Design costs. Um, Specification parameters. So it's got 3D joysticks. I don't know what that means. A circular design, 16 million colors. That's crazy. Um, and then obviously just your basic like volume keys but yeah, HD, TF, on off. It looks like it has some pretty good value for your money here, but it's interesting that it's just I've never heard of such an M22 Pro. And then I've been buying from the seller for, yeah, okay, so it's whatever. I was trying to pop this down. M22 Pro, 5-inch, so bigger screen, RGB joysticks, 4K HD TV output, retro mini game console, and then at the end they sneak in an RG40XX, so they are sort of implying they're Anbernic. But I've bought these little devices before, and they have really bitten me because, like, I bought a phone off Alibaba once, and it was just a piece of trash. And so here, like SJ Gam, so I've never heard of them, but maybe they are, maybe they're all right. They have specs on the back. They have, you want 5-volt charging. They have a lithium ion battery. Lithium. Yeah, okay. And their IO, their user interface, their like buttons and stuff are decent. They're not just like they have a full big freaking screen on it, which is pretty, as far as I understand, pretty expensive in and of itself. So let's check this guy out on Google quickly. So M22 Pro by SJ Gam. Okay, so just quickly off the top here, we're looking at there are some videos, so you can go check out those if you're interested in this M22 Pro, and they actually compare it, wow, to the TrimUI Smart Pro, which I'm pretty sure is decently expensive. Oh, it's a TrimUI Smart Pro knockoff. Sorry, not an Anbernic knockoff. And then here we've got the Retro Deck, which is an actual website. RetroDoc, sorry. So let's go in there. So, SJGAM, Linux, Emulate, which is a proper supported emulation system. Price range under $100. Yeah, it was pretty cheap on the Alibaba there. And SJGAM, never heard of them, but I mean, nothing wrong with that. And let's look at the internals. So the chipset is N909, if anybody's interested in researching that. We've got a dual core. So instead of, I think the R36S said it had an 8-core, 3,000 milliamp hour battery. It's pretty good. IPS screen, I think that's pretty standard. 5-inch, that's pretty good. And this is a 16:9 aspect ratio, which I think that's pretty standard these days, so that's nice. 441 ppi, now something that so no Bluetooth, got USB-C, mini HDMI, headphone jack, right on, no Wi-Fi either, and that's fine. At that price, you can't really get Wi-Fi, you can't expect too much. You got, of course, your ABXY, dual analog thumbsticks, L1R1, L2R2, and your power switch and volume rocker. It is a total of, I think it's like 8 inches by 3.5 inches ish. This is just quick mental math, by like just over an inch thick. So not terribly large. And so it's probably okay in pocketability. And then they just have some YouTube videos stashed here. But let's quickly look up the price of the TrimUI Smart Pro, because this is what it's kind of emulating, pun intended. Oh, I just noticed here so I didn't see it in the actual, but the excerpt here on the RetroDoc website is that the M22 Pro is a low budget clone of the slightly more powerful TrimUI Smart Pro. So it might actually not be too bad bang for your buck. So let's check out this Reddit post here, and then we'll go check out the price of the TrimUI Smart Pro. Okay, so they're saying it just does up to PS1, which for me, for that price, makes perfect sense. But they're also saying the battery's too small. It should be at least, the TrimUI Smart Pro is almost double. It's got 5,000 milliamp hour battery. I don't know. TrimUI Smart Pro. Okay, interesting. There. Okay. Which I doubt. I think if you had a TrimUI Smart Pro, you wouldn't be checking out the SJ GAM. You'd probably be happy enough. It's an overpriced garbage with a shittier CPU that can't take advantage of the screen it has. And the analogs look terrible. And they do actually look quite bad, now that we're getting some different pictures of it. Okay, quickly, price of the TrimUI Smart Pro, and then that'll be it. Okay, so we've got AliExpress TrimUI Smart Pro for $80. So not really that expensive, honestly. Like, this is Canadian, or I believe so. So $80 Canadian versus 40. So it's twice the price, but it's probably twice the handheld. And we're on Amazon. We're going up to 140. That's knockoff. So let's check out Alibaba just for a proper comparison. So okay, so we've got the M22 Pro here. Just remember, it was $37. And a quick search of the TrimUI Smart Pro, we're sitting around 70, 80 bucks. So yeah, so that is twice the price, but could be worth it. All right, thanks anybody who took the time to watch this, and have yourself a good day.